I, 29 female, basically adopted my toddler daughter, Mia, when she was born. Her mother was my best friend and passed away during childbirth due to pregnancy complications. She grew up along the Bible Belt and picked a university that was far away, so her parents didn't even know nor would they approve of the baby. The father was a rich foreigner who did nothing but sleep around and spend his parents' money. He was undoubtedly wealthy, and she was but one of the many girls that had fallen for his good looks and money. The man knew of the pregnancy, but didn't care as he had an arranged marriage waiting back home and left her. After her passing, her parents have been more accepting of Mia and occasionally visit with gifts. We've become a non-conventional happy family with 2 sets of grandparents, bio moms and mine, and me to raise her. Recently, the biological father's parents reached out to me about Mia. They had hired a private investigator to find their granddaughter. It turns out his wife, the arranged one, was cheating on him, and the child they were raising was not their son. He passed away 2 years ago, and they now want to adopt their biological child and continue their lineage, etc. Although I can see them providing a much better life for Mia, I'm middle class, they're part of the top 0.1% for sure. It just rubs me the wrong way that they only tried looking for her after their son passed away and could not produce any more heirs. Blood relationships are very important in their culture, and I don't wish to deny Mia her blood relatives since I've introduced her to her mother's side's grandparents. But if they were to adopt her, she would have to move to their country, away from me, my parents, and her mother's side biological grandparents. So they have offered us all plane tickets to their country whenever we want to visit Mia. My parents and Mia's bio mom's parents are all fine with this agreement, as they only visit once per year anyways, due to us being on the other side of the country. I have yet to talk to Mia about this, and I don't know if I should, and whether a toddler should even be making these decisions. Am I the idiot to keep my adoptive daughter? Not the idiot. They've already tried and failed to raise one child correctly. They don't get a second chance just because they failed the first time. She's your daughter, not their do-over. I also think you'll never see her again if you relinquish her to them. Mia's happiness and stability are the #1 issue, and dislocating her from her found family into a new culture would be profoundly destabilizing. Instead, she can connect with them remotely and begin visiting when she's 18. OP, it's not the wealth that should be the focus, but will they provide a happy and safe environment for Mia? Some cultures are repressive towards the girl child. Will that come under play? Especially since the bio father had an arranged marriage. That would be a hard no for me, no matter how wealthy they are. They knew of her existence, but reached out only after their grandson passed away. This does not bode well. Also, you don't know the laws in that other country. Mia might be taken away from you when you step on that soil, and you will have no way of getting her back. It would be best if you spoke with a lawyer. Exactly. And yeah, saying that they'll buy tickets anytime they want, but then they'll say it won't be in the best interest for Mia to see them right now. She needs to get used to her new life, a new set of grandparents. Personally, I would not hand over my child to strangers, even if they are biologically related. Do not take her overseas. You will be told Maya does not remember you anyway, and just to let it go. You would never see that little girl again. Why would you ever even consider giving up your kid? You're the only mom she's ever known. Don't let any of that old world BS guilt you into anything. I hope you don't tell your daughter, and for Christ's sake, never ask her if she wants it, because she'll think you don't love her. She's your daughter. Protect her. My 26 female, sister 22, Angela, became pregnant with my nephew, toddler, Lincoln, the summer she graduated high school. Unfortunately, Lincoln's father's not in the picture. She had 2 possible guys she believed could be Lincoln's father, but neither of them was. I have nothing against single moms who have kids early, but Angela getting pregnant right out of high school might explain her attitude about why she should party while older people are responsible for Lincoln. Since Lincoln was 6 months old, Angela has never stayed home with him for more than 3 days a week. Before, her go-to was to leave Lincoln with my mom or aunt, but my mom's health has declined recently, and my aunt moved for her husband's work, so now I'm Angela's go-to. At maximum, Angela will give me a half-hour notice that she's dropping off Lincoln at my house. Usually there is no notice, and Angela just knocks on my door with Lincoln. Angela has no consideration for what I have to or want to do. She's fortunate that I work a desk job and have my cubicle, so I'm able to keep Lincoln occupied with a DVD player, and my coworkers don't mind, as Lincoln is pretty quiet and calm anyway. Since she started this, I've been telling Angela that she needs to step up and be a mom, because she can't expect me to always be Lincoln's sitter, and parents don't get to party all week long. But Angela will just make excuses about how moms are entitled to have fun without their kids too, and young people don't get that much time to live life before getting old, but she would do it anyway. Angela never followed through, and the last straw was when she came to my house and just dumped Lincoln and his stuff off while informing me that she and her friends were going to Myrtle Beach for the next 3 days. So I had Lincoln wait in a different room with some earbuds, and then told Angela that she could just put Lincoln up for adoption since she has zero interest in being a mom. I also told her that I would help with Lincoln for 3 more weeks while she worked out some long-term childcare options. Then after that, if she tries to dump Lincoln on me again, I'll call child services on her. I'm fully prepared to do it. We argued before she eventually took Lincoln back and left. My friends agreed that even though it's a last resort, I should be prepared to do it because I can't spend Lincoln's whole life dropping everything to babysit him, and Angela needs to get her act together. However, my other family members are saying it's going way too far to even think about calling child services on Angela because she's family, and she's a young woman who it's unfair to have her entire life revolve around a child. They and Angela all look down on adoption because you rehome dogs, not babies. And as I mentioned, my mom is in poor health, and since I plan to stay child-free, I would throw away her potential opportunity to watch a grandchild grow up. Am I the idiot for being prepared to call child services on my sister anyways? Not the idiot. Your sister could have had a termination or placed her son for adoption. She chose instead to neglect him while your whole family cheers her on. And if I were OP's mom, I wouldn't be too concerned about this being her only chance to be a grandma. However, I bet anything that Angela's not done having babies for others to care for. It's so great that those outspoken family members have now volunteered themselves to take on this burden. If Angela drops her kid off at OP again, just do the same by dropping them off at their homes. They're family after all, right? Angela chose to have a child right out of high school. She's the one who should take care of him. She's the mother, not you. If it's unfair to have her life revolve around a child, she shouldn't have become a mother then. And it's unfair to you that your life is forced to revolve around a child that's not yours. Tell all of those family members, well, she should have thought about that before she had a baby. Why is she allowed to have a future without a kid, but you're not? I'm seething right now. I, 18 female, stopped living at my mom's when I was 17. She and I do not have a very good relationship, and it has become more strained over the years. The trouble started when I was 8, and my mom started dating her husband. I was several months out from losing my dad, and when she introduced me to her husband, then boyfriend, I was honest that I didn't like her dating. She told me I would come around, but within 4 months, she left me with a cousin and got engaged to him while his kids were present. I found out because my cousin got a text with a photo of them, and the news had already gone around to the rest of my mom's family and her husband's family. Then, I was the last person to find out about her being pregnant, 2 years after that point. Her stepson, who was 15 at the time, decided he would taunt me with the news and say how mom had fully replaced my dad, and I was next. I don't think he saw it that way, but he knew that's how I felt about my mom being remarried. Apparently, they were all taken by their dad to be told, while mom was telling her family. It was like a week later when he taunted me over it. They did attempt to include me and stuff, but because I wasn't into it, I was just left to do my own thing. Mom pulled away from me and then felt bad and tried to bond. Eventually, I just decided I had lost her because I couldn't blend with her husband and his kids, because she would always resent me for that, the way I resented her for moving so fast after dad and putting everyone before me. I moved in with my dad's parents. This is where I was when I applied for college and stuff, and I got the scholarship. I never told my mom. We didn't talk for months. It was only after I started college last week that she reached out to my grandparents about something, and she found out. She was upset, furious, all the stuff, and she asked how I could leave her out of something so huge because she would have celebrated the news with me. I told her I didn't really consider her a part of my life anymore, and just like she had moved on with her life away from me, I had done the same away from her. She told me it was different and I was being cruel. Her husband took over and demanded I go to them and discuss everything as a family, so my mom could have the life she deserves and have her kid treat her right instead of being selfish and spoiled. I never set out to hurt my mom, but I did stop thinking about her role in my life after I moved out. Am I the idiot? So that my mom could have the life she deserves and have her kid treat her right instead of being selfish and spoiled. That says it all, that it still isn't about you. She and they are still only thinking of themselves, and how dare you not submit to them? Not the idiot, OP. I hope you have a good time at college. Yeah, stepdad sounds like a piece of work. What's that? You put in the effort to get a full ride scholarship to college? How selfish and spoiled you must be. It's clear that neither of them intended to put up money for college if OP had already started by the time they found out, and then they chose to be mad about it rather than happy for her. Interesting emotional choice to say the least. I guess mom and stepdad don't understand the definition of spoiled. Working hard for a scholarship and not taking money from them in college is the opposite of being spoiled. The fact that he's using the word spoiled means he doesn't have any real arguments and is just repeating all the typical complaints he sees of millennials and Gen Z. Mom needs to realize that leaving you out of her announcements has lost the right to be included in yours. It's interesting that your mom is upset not to know about your scholarship, but had no discussion with you about your plans after graduation. That seems so basic a discussion. Hey, what are your plans? Communication is a two-way street. She pushed you out of her life. Don't be bullied into letting her back in now. My 27 female, brother 32, was engaged to my best friend Julia, 30 female, like 8 years ago. They had a son, Josh, pre-tween. Julia and my brother broke up because he was caught cheating with a man on Julia. They separated, and my brother married that man, 31, 3 years ago. They also have an adopted son, Max, younger child. By the way, Julia and I are still best friends. My brother's stupidity didn't affect our friendship. I'm getting married to my wonderful fiance, Ben, this October. Julia will be there since she is my best friend, and she's requested that I don't invite my brother's husband because he makes her feel uncomfortable. I delivered the invitations 2 weeks ago. I sent it to my brother, and it specified on the invitation that it was only for my brother and Josh. He called me asking if there was a mistake and reminded me that his household had 4 people, but I told him that his husband wasn't invited for obvious reasons and that Max would make Julia uncomfortable, so I was only inviting him and Josh to avoid drama. He told me that he would never allow his husband and son to be disrespected this way. I asked him to at least let Josh come, but he refused. My parents found out and called me the idiot for prioritizing a friend over my brother, and Ben seemed to be on their side. I mean, Julia and my brother don't get along, and Julia hates my brother-in-law, so I want to avoid drama. I can't please everyone, and my brother isn't in a place where he gets to make requests because of what he did to Julia. Everyone seems to be on my brother's side and are calling me an idiot, to the point where I'm reconsidering inviting my brother-in-law and asking Julia to try and ignore them. Not the idiot. My answer would be different if the dude weren't the affair partner, but then I imagine Julia wouldn't take an issue with it if that hadn't happened. It's bad enough your brother cheated, but to bring his affair partner? Like, here's our happy family, screw you, Julia. Figuring out you're gay is not a free pass to cheat. I agree with not condoning the cheating, but why invite the brother? Or why invite one of her brother's children but not the other one? I think this is fairly complicated. Her brother made a huge mistake, but it doesn't make it okay. But he's been married for 3 years now to this man, and they have established a family together. I'm confused about where OP decided to draw her boundaries for who she would invite and who she wouldn't. Exactly. You can invite whoever you want to your wedding, but you must be aware that this will ruin your relationship with your brother forever. If you haven't forgiven him for the affair, it's your choice. You are the idiot because you've chosen to invite only one child. Your brother has 2 children, and the second child is innocent. You're doing this for Julia for one day and not giving a crap about what happens for all the days after with those boys. She chose not to invite the brother-in-law because he was an affair partner in an affair that emotionally damaged her best friend. I honestly wouldn't invite him either. But also, I am closer to my best friend rather than my sibling. We like to preach that we can choose our family and cut out toxic members. Also, I think inviting his partner to the wedding may come off as being supportive of their relationship, including how it began, which would not be a good look, especially at her wedding. I recently got married to the love of my life. Wedding planning was nothing but a nightmare between her overbearing mom and my mom and sisters passively aggressively disapproving. The biggest issue of contention was that my wife wanted our pictures to look nice, so she wanted the immediate family to follow a color scheme. Now, I know opinions about that vary, but it's important to note that my family's not hurting for money. They would be buying new clothes for the wedding anyway. And when my mom really dug her heels in, we offered to pay for her outfit. My family was extremely upset. They all refused to comply and said we were using them as dolls, ruining the wedding for them, which was dehumanizing. I backed my wife and said they would be asked to leave if they didn't wear the color scheme, but again, offered to pay for their clothes. They didn't take me up on my offer and did show up appropriately dressed. I noticed they were all being cold though. No congratulations, no hugging, just cold and disinterested. When it was time to take pictures, my mom told me they would sit the pictures out. They felt they had been used as props and were not okay with that being documented. I told her she was ridiculous and asked whether she wanted pictures from her son's wedding. My sister jumped in and told me they weren't treated like family, so they didn't want pictures. Note, these weren't even weird colors they would never wear. I was furious, and my wife was going to be so hurt. I told them they could just get out if they didn't want to be in the pictures. They seemed shocked, but left. My youngest sister called me a brainwashed piece of crap, but my mom and older sister just got their stuff and wouldn't even look at me. My stepdad told me that my mom wouldn't admit it, but I hurt her feelings. None of them have reached out since the wedding. You are the idiot. All of this matchy-matchy or the pics won't look right is ridiculous. The vast majority of formal events outside of weddings do not require color schemes, and the pics still look amazing because everyone feels good about looking their best and supporting whatever they're dressed up for. Your wife is the idiot for making this a hill to die on. You are the idiot because it's your wedding too, and this was not worth feuding with family or anyone else over. You don't get off the hook on the grounds that you were just supporting your wife. Not the idiot. It was a color scheme, not matching tattoos. And if his family's acting so petty over this, they probably have deeper issues. The fact that his sister called him a brainwashed piece of crap indicates that at least she has something against his wife and is implying the wife is controlling. Also, if your family was being so cold, why would you want them at the wedding anyway? You probably saved the mood by kicking them out. Your kid's wedding is not the place to throw a fit. Exactly. You don't make a scene at someone else's wedding. If they didn't want to go along with it, they shouldn't have. Not gone halfway and tried to ruin one of the most memorable days of your life. You are under no obligation to be kind to people who treat you poorly, whether or not you share DNA.